All right, I hope everybody can see my screen. Right, yes.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, so our program, or I should say project, that we're building at MTC is called Regional Mapping Data Services Platform. And as I mentioned earlier, we're working on this project with our consultant team from Interline. And on the left side, it's Nisar Ahmed. This is my I report to Nisar, and he's the principal, and then I'm the project manager. Going on to I'll try to I um, I'll start by saying what are we going to talk about today. So we'll start by what is RMDS, and then I'll share a overview of the of our platform's functionality. And then I know we have multiple use cases for this project, but right now we're focused on mapping and wayfinding. So we're gonna share that how we are serving that use case, and then we'll dig a little more deeper into it, and I'll share one of the key functionalities that we are building within this platform, and then I'll open up discussion for discussions or questions at the end of the um, slide deck. So, what is RMDS? I'll start by saying it's a what our goal or objective for RMDS is that it will be a single regional source for sharing georeference data within the San Francisco Bay Area region. It will have a lot of it will facilitate transportation analysis, planning, and operation. And then through this project, we would also be able to keep the geographic and georeference data consistent and up to date. And we would also be able to provide standardized mapping for Bay Area transit services. And then, yeah, the last objective is to ensure that it's a shared platform where um, different agencies and government organizations within San Francisco Bay Area can collaborate, and they can process, enrich, and validate the geographic and transit data. Moving on to what RMDS isn't for. So this is important because our objectives, we do say it's a platform for everybody, and um, but we also want to clarify some confusions that might got can be raised from our objectives. And so this platform is not for direct public use. It will definitely benefit. The benefiting party here is public, but our users are not direct public. Our users would be mapping and wayfinding that is responsible to create wayfinding around transit stations and hubs. They are going to be our customers. Then 511.org is one of our websites that host a map. So they would also be using RMDS. And then, yeah, in the future, we might be open to providing it to trip planners um, that are, well, some of the transit operators, they do have trip planners. So we would be opening up our platform for those users. And then we also want to disclose, or one also want to mention here, that it's not a system of record. We are not trying to replace or replace any existing GIS systems. We know that transit agencies, cities, they have their own processes and they have their own GIS data, but this platform would provide them more of a reference point or an additional data source that they could use and benefit out of it. And lastly, we are also highlighting that it's not a date it's not going to be a data silo. We're going to continuously update our platform through updates from GTFS feeds and then also from OpenStreetMap. Um, and so moving forward, I would like to share how we are going to, what users we are anticipating and what users are we focusing right now. And so the primary users are mapping and wayfinding, 511.org, and then there's a couple of groups that use GIS data within MTC. They would be our primary users, and in the future, we are hoping, or our future users would be cities and counties in San Francisco Bay Area, and the transit operators and other planning and programming and operational business units within MTC, and then also information stakeholders that we have listed here. And then through all of these users or use cases, we would be able to reach or deliver this information to traveling public, that mapping and through which RMDS is hosting or will be hosting early next year. Moving on to I've talked a lot about overall what our goals and what we're aiming at and what our use cases are, but I want to pick up one of the examples or use cases that we're currently working on, which is mapping and wayfinding, and I'd like to share what functionality RMDS is providing to that uh, program. It's another MTC program, but how are we providing that functionality? And so on a high level, we would have on the left side, you see all these data providers or contributors. They would be contributing to OpenStreetMaps and um, transit operators. They are already providing their GTFS and other data to our existing 511 data system. And so we are utilizing those two sources and we're ingesting that data into RMDS. We would be validating all that data and then providing that to RMDS users. It's a very simple high level. Obviously, if you go into more detail, it's not as simple as it looks like here. And then this is one of the examples or use cases. So we will have multiple, RMDS will be providing multiple geographic data layers, and those would be overlaid, and they would enable mapping and wayfinding to come up with maps um, that they have envisioned to provide for the transit hubs. And and so with that data, we would be able to create those maps. You can see some of the examples here. And yeah, that would be our output that we would be providing through this platform that we're building. And sharing a little bit of functionality, what mapping and what we would be helping mapping and wayfinding with. So RMDS will have a mapping interface or a UI, and that would enable mapping and wayfinding team to find a place for or a transit station or location that they wish to create a map, and then they would be able to select the type of map depending on what zoom level they want, and then yeah, they'll be able to do some updates, changes, or like I should say, scale and rotation, and what type of outputs they want to put on that map. They would be able to apply those outputs onto the using this mapping interface, and then obviously they would be able to export that as a printable format, or they could also have a digital format that they or anybody else can use it on an electronic or digital platform or a product. to display that map. Um, and then, yeah, since we're talking about all of this, we thought we would share a little bit about how I know we initially we talked about OSM that we're going to use, and then GTFS feed that we will be using to um, provide transit data. And so we wanted to share one of the challenges that we came across and how we are working on resolving that challenge to just show something exciting here to the group. So yeah, that's the shared transit segment. So the challenge here is that we're using GTFS feed, and this feed has a file called shapes.txt. We're taking that file and we're using that information to create map routes, or I should say transit routes onto our OSM-based map. And so the challenge is obviously not everybody is using OpenStreetMap. So when other transit operators and they're creating their shapes in their own systems and they export that shapes, they not necessarily uh, overlay quite nicely on the OSM. So when we try to map them or match them onto OSM, this is something what we see, it's crooked lines and not following at a lot of points. It's not even following the road network. Um, so we're trying to like work with that. And so yeah, and obviously there's like different routes using the same segments. So that's those are the challenges that we're facing, and this is one of the examples of downtown San Francisco, where we're showing the different transit operators that serve this area, like Samtrans. That's one of the operators. Presidigo is another operator, and SFMT, and we're highlighting those routes that share the same road segment, um, and their shape files here. And so moving on to the next is what is our solution? So shared transit segments. That's our solution, and how we're doing or what our goal is basically um, we are map matching these bus routes to OpenStreet road network, Open OSM's road network, and then yeah, there's multiple interlined routes that these segments represent, and yeah, what are the outcomes? It's basically we would be able to calculate frequencies, headways from all this information, and then we would be able to provide it as a single line, or we could offset those lines along the corridors. Um, and so this is another example of how we are creating those segments is by we have these raw shapes from shapes.txt and GTFS feed. And yeah, we're building it on OSM, and we have all these crooked lines, and we are map matching it to OpenStreetMap. And yeah, there's snap to OpenStreetMap ways. And we have all these different colored segments. And then, yeah, we are aggregating into transit segments. And then, yeah, this is where we're showing these segments that represent. So, for example, dark blue lines that are shown on this map, those are the segments that are shared by SFMTA and Samtrans. Those are the two transit operators in San Francisco Bay Area. And then light blue is just for SFMTA bus routes, multiple bus routes that serve these roads. And then green is Samtrans. So within this small area, we have three different agencies that uh, service this area. So that's how we are we are able to um, uh, distinctively find out what, and we can show what segments are for each route. What are the segments here? Um, and then yeah, this is another example that we're showing. Red is again for SFMTA, blue is AC Transit. AC Transit is Alameda County Transit that serves the east side of San Francisco Bay Area. And then yeah, multiple colors. They're they're there to represent other transit operators that operate in this area. And then yeah, here we're just showing, as we mentioned earlier, we would be able to offset all these routes together or mix them and show them under one segment. Um, those are the kind of functionalities that we're able to achieve um, using this shared transit segment. And then, yeah, that brings to the end. I'll open up for any questions that anybody has.